Good morning, Commissioners, Chairman Maury, Phyllis Fry, 275 Date Palm Road, Vero Beach. Whether it's happening in Westchester County or San Francisco or Chattanooga, Connecticut, or right here in St. Lucie County, the Sustainable Communities Regional Governance Plan is the same. All across America, citizens are losing their rights. Entire communities will be forced out of their private homes into upward sprawl, out of their cars and into mass transit. A social reengineering bill, SB 1619, to restrict residents in the suburbs and rural areas and force Americans into city centers has been passed in the United States Senate Banking Committee and is on the fast track to passage in the Senate. The carrot? Millions in government grants to locally elected officials in exchange for agreeing to amend the zoning laws that will allow for social reengineering of our communities. So, what's wrong with regional governance? Nothing. Unless you value state sovereignty, fiscal responsibility, local decision-making, property rights, individual freedom, and the constitutional principles upon which this country was founded. Regional government diminishes the power of local governments by conferring increasing levels of authority until locally elected officials are no longer part of the plan. China, the masters of social reengineering, is leading the way by forcing 250 million people off their land into stack and pack sustainable communities. Can't happen here. It is happening here. 750 is the master plan in Southeast Florida for relocating entire populations against our will. In keeping with Secretary of HUD Sean Donovan's recent press release, he states that the federal government is embarking on the most ambitious social reengineering project ever undertaken through demographic mapping of every neighborhood in every community in the United States. His words, not mine. Funded by HUD, 750's required social equity analysis and opportunity index report is in full compliance with Secretary Sean Donovan's social reengineering plan, and they are both in compliance with the President's Council on Sustainable Development, initially signed by former President George H.W. Bush in 1992, subsequently signed by former President Clinton into Executive Order 12852 at the United Nations in 1993, and further signed into executive order by the current administration. This will be done, they hope, without our knowledge, without our consent, without our vote, but with our tax dollars. But don't take my word for it. You've seen it firsthand. 750's plan for St. Lucie County was succinctly summarized in the words of 750's own revered keynote speaker, a consummate profiteer who spoke at the May 17th meeting which I attended, and you, Chairman Maury, chaired. Yes, Andre Dwani, a proud globalist who put the United Nations above our own U.S. government, but then the UN is the source of the document for 750's Sustainable Communities Plan, as per not one, but two presidential executive orders. So, Dwani was quite right to subjugate our government, including you, our locally elected officials, to 750's rules. Unfortunately, 750 has withdrawn Dwani's presentation from public access on their website, but his entire representation can be viewed for your convenience on our www.ac4pr.org site. Dwani outlined 750's plan rather succinctly, don't you think? I'll remind you of some of his quotes from that meeting. Quote, "We need to transcend the local. Cities are less important. Only mega regions are important. We need to stop having these public meetings. Just get on with the plan and pass it. We only need a few people to make these decisions. Top-down government's best. Bottom up, everybody gets to talk about nothing forever. We, 750, decides who makes what decisions and then download to others later. Those who secede from us, we will crush you. Miami and Cuba need to become a sister state," end quote. I assume Mr. Dwani meant communist Cuba, unless there is another Cuba out there somewhere that I'm not aware of, but I digress. Quote, "Miami needs to become South America. This is where we can dominate. We can throw an election. Everything must be planned, not to the convenience of the landholder." And I'll leave you with my personal favorite. "Say what you will about fascism, but it's efficient," end quote. Dwani summed up 750's plan, and on their top-down government dictates very well. Is this what you support? Is this representative government? Your constituents are requesting that you withdraw from 750. Now is the time. It's been my pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Fry.